the very heart of it in old New York. I want to wake up in a city that doesn't sleep and find I'm king of the hill, top of the heap. These vagabond shoes or blues are starting to something or other. Blood chewed up, blood a who to scoop in old New York. New York City bitches sucking ass. Yeah, that's right. We are starting off with terrible songs. And we're going to be breaking up some indica tonight. That is correct, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. We are breaking up indica. Why? Because it's a little late for sativa, don't you think? It's about 8:30 at night. My God, what do you want to stay awake all day? What's up, SJF? We don't want any of that. We want this indica right here. So that's what we're doing, and that's what we care about tonight. We have a lot of news that's going on. Little bit we'll read, little bit of allegory, as I always yell, talk shit, and do whatever I can. Fuck the Iranian government once again. Suck a dick, dumb shit. That's what I'm talking about. And we obviously are going to tell people that their behavior is terrible as human beings. Because as you know, people in the modern world act like jackasses. What's up? What's up, America? That's correct. Modern humans are starting to disgust me. I don't know what it is, how I got to this particular planet. What's up, SLD? Not exactly sure how I got to this particular planet. But I think a lot of the people here on this planet are broken. What's up, Eric? I've noticed the political infighting. It is so fun. What's up, Kimberly? I have noticed the abject vitriol. What's up, Janet? Between humans in the world, the NPC-like attitudes. Thank you, my friend, for those gifts. Thank you. The way people shuffle and jive. Nothing happy, not broken. Damn right. People move at the same times. They do the same things. They don't have any difference. You can time these people down to the minute or the second in some cases. Their lives are so predictable and useless here in the United States. And we wonder to ourselves, how did we get in such a lowly state that we're living in here in the United States? And if you go on to, for instance, I was watching on TikTok earlier, and I know he's here on YouTube, Parker Get a Job. And he was debating, I don't know if that's what he calls himself on here, and he was debating a white supremacist that was believing that slavery should be brought back, which of course it shouldn't. That's retarded. That's racist as fuck too. I would argue that Parker was probably right on that. That's anti-American. Data centers, hell yeah, dude, the data centers are killing us. But the guy beforehand was saying that he wants to go back to the way it was in the 1950s or the 1920s. What's up, Marine? And so Parker Get a Job was like, well, you want that before civil rights and all that? And the guy was like, yeah, of course. Now, I wouldn't mind going back to the way the world was economically in the 1950s. You couldn't pay me to actually go back to the social aspects of America in the 1950s. I would like to see the economics, meaning that our dollar is worth more, should leave the country if they hate America. Everybody has the right to protest, but you shouldn't wish for the death of the country. But there's always going to be disloyal people in every country because there's an anarchist movement. And it doesn't matter what the government is. Some people just don't want government at all. They believe any type of natural rule is considered racist, bigoted, or verboten, whatever it is. Hell yeah. And so, and what's up, America? How you doing, JS? What's up, America? I like the accolades. And so you say, okay, well, we're living in the world now. We've got Donald Trump as president. We are in the middle of a war with Iran. A lot of our money and resources are going either overseas. A lot of people are pissed that it's going to Israel, to be fair. Not going to lie. I don't know what your side is on that with Israel, if you support Israel, if you hate Israel. I support, thank you, my friend. What's up, Janet? Thank you for the membership. So I don't really care if you support or hate Israel or what it is. You shouldn't really want to kill anybody. And so my dislike of Islamic fundamentalism is from the people that want to kill them. What's up, Doroma? What's up, Bones? How you doing? I haven't been a while, man. How you doing? And so I see certain nations, like for instance, Iran, okay? What's up, Allie? What's up, Nana? I don't have any problem with the people of Iran, absolutely. The people of Iran aren't the problem, it's the government. Some people get that shit twisted, saying that, oh, here you go, baby. Saying that the Iranian people are bad. There's nobody. Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, TikTok, I don't go live on TikTok. I only go here now. Fuck TikTok live. This is the place to be. It's YouTube, and it's just better, and the people are normal. Mostly. So, I really want to give everybody the benefit of the doubt regardless of the country. That's fine. No problem whatsoever. The bigger problem is, thank you, PETA. The bigger problem is things like radical Islamic fundamentalism, or things where you say, well, you said a word or an idea I didn't agree with. What's up, Jen? Oh, you're okay. So because you don't agree the way I agree, I'm going to kill you, or I'm going to shoot at you or throw a bomb at you. So let me be very clear here. It doesn't really matter if you think the person's speech is abhorrent. You have to allow it to exist. And the reason you have to allow it to exist is because your speech is also allowed to exist. What's up, Ice Cream? So, for instance, if you see somebody like Jake Lang out there, which I just found out he was grooming children, that's fun. So, what the fuck, Jake Lang, grooming children, you fucking pile of shit. That thing in Michigan have 6 miles from your house? What's up, America? Holy shit, Dave. That's right, Nan. I put that up specifically. Thank you, Allie. Gas where I'm in Indiana. Gas is $3.70 a gallon, give or take. I know, I just can't go back to the lives on TikTok. If I go on TikTok live and I say, hi, everybody, restriction, violation, banned. So I have groups of stalkers, thank you, Janet, on TikTok. But here on YouTube, they have safeguards for people that do that shit. So like here's what they do on TikTok. Hi, I have 10 accounts. Report, new account, report, new account, report, new account, report, new account. Now it's banned. That's TikTok. Here, after a while of false reporting, they stop giving it validity. So if you make 12 false reports, thank you, SJF. If you make 12, that is awesome. Thank you, my friend. If you make 12 false reports on this app, after a minute, they start not having any validity to it. So YouTube actually took that away. Yeah, it's gang stalking. So what's up, America? How you doing, Ghost? So I had a conservative woman and her fucking boyfriend had like 30 accounts that were gang stalking me on TikTok because I said she was mocking the poor, which she was. And she fucking made like 7 videos. And I started wondering something. I was like, a video came across my FYP. What's up, America? How you doing? A video on Fuck Talk came across my FYP, and it was Billy Graham talking. Now, 2 of my acquaintances were fighting with each other, grown men, about whether Jake Lang was a racist and he shouldn't be seen in public. Well, of course, he's a racist. Yeah, she is a psycho. I told you. That woman is a piece of shit. You know, Nana. Yeah, you know what that woman's capable of. She's fucking garbage. She's fucking garbage. Nevertheless, haven't gained any followers I've seen the last couple of months, so that's They could ban me all they want, but still, in a day, I get what she gets in a lifetime. Fantastic. Anyway, but that being the case, I started noticing. I saw like 10 of your fake accounts. Oh, so they're coming back again? That doesn't surprise me. Because I'm going to have to start reporting them again. Because I report like 7 to 8 a day. The TikTok is like, it's an out of control nightmare. So let's see. If I look up Sup America, there's Sup America. There's Sup America's my 2. There's Sup America exclamation point with 830 followers. That's not me. We have Sup America 2. Sup America official, Sup America again, another Sup America, followed by a Sup America, and TikTok knows. Yeah, TikTok knows about this shit. There's a Sup America exclamation point with look at that. Stole my shit with that, yeah. So there's at least 10 more accounts. Okay, hell yeah, you sent them to me? Good, because after this live stream, I'll go and report all these fuck faces. Sup America 2. By the way, most of these are from Pakistan, I've noticed. TikTok knows about it, and from what I can tell, they use the bots. What's up, Liquid? So listen to this. So in one account of mine, I had 280 accounts removed that were bot accounts that I reported and they removed. We had that happen with a lot of other popular creators, and it comes out that at least 60% of TikTok is just fake. It's fake. So like when I had 330,000 followers on TikTok, probably half of them were just bot fake shit, right? So now I have, and the reason that is because they alter the numbers. So TikTok uses bots to make it look like they have high traffic in order to keep up with like YouTube and shit. Whatever TikTok numbers there are. Thank you, Allie. Hell, oh, I haven't seen that. I like that.
Somebody sent that to you.
Oh, did they? Oh, okay. Well, I love that. Thank you, Allie. No, maybe it was Allie, yeah. So whatever numbers TikTok tells you as far as we get 1 billion users a month, cut half of that off, and that's the reality of the situation. A lot of people have left YouTube or TikTok. So even Parker and Dean Withers, Parker Get a Job and all those people, they don't just stream on TikTok now. They take TikTok guests live, but what they do is they multi-stream. So you'll see Dean Withers on here streaming on YouTube while also on TikTok. They used to just be exclusively TikTok. Why is that? Because it's so sensitive of an algorithm at TikTok that it's impossible to do lives and literally talk. So if you see a lot of people, like I wake up in the morning, my wife gets ready, I get ready. While she's out smoking a cigarette, I usually take a dump. And when I'm doing that, I take my phone in there. And so immediately live streams pop up. Normally you used to see like political live streams, or you would see, yeah, whatever, right? You would just see, a guy fishing, fucking sunset or sunrise. Now the only things you see are live streams of sunrises because the guy doesn't talk. And then there'll be girls getting ready in the morning. Oh, thank you, Eric. Yo, thank you, Paul. Yeah, I know, it's a good day. Nobody's saying shit. They're literally, and even some of the girls that are there in the morning getting ready, they'll be sitting there just putting makeup on. Oh, why do I have a restriction? A restriction? I didn't even say nothing. And they don't. They say, what's up, Meep? They'll sit there and say no words at all. Not showing tits, nothing. Just like getting ready in the morning, washing their hands, violation. And it's like, okay, there's no point in going live. Thank you, Janet, on TikTok. Thank you, my friend. There is absolutely no point in going live on TikTok. It's a useless pile of shit. The only thing TikTok is good for is selling shit on TikTok Shop. That's it. What's up, America? How you doing? So if you want to remain on TikTok on a live stream without being banned, you either have to do something where you're not talking about anything or selling something on TikTok Shop. That's it. That's all you can do. So walking around, showing New York City, just walking around, being like, thanks for the gifts, bro. Yeah, I really do like that pizza place. Yep, that's right. Like nothing of importance, nothing of merit, just superficial shit. Because they don't want you to go any deeper. Anything else is considered offensive, verboten, has to be stopped, removed. That's just what it is. And I don't understand why, to this day, why you lie about 65% of violence just scrolling through TikToks. They were doing normal things. Exactly. Violated for nothing. I've seen people that are like, they'll be saying they're selling something. Yeah, check out my bio. Oh, I'm violated for sending people off platform. My other page that I have on there, I remember back in the day, I'd be talking about like, you know, an earthquake happening. And they would violate me for sending something offline. This is St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York City. What's up, America? How you doing? Yeah, it's across the board. So I'm just looking at this and I say, something's wrong with TikTok. Like YouTube, I get it. And I'm going to get into the news in a minute. I'm sorry. I have to do allegory. YouTube's always been difficult. Right? That's just a given. I know they've tweaked the algorithm the last couple of months. Hell yeah, Tartaria. I know they've tweaked the algorithm here on YouTube I'm going to get into the news here in a second, but I'm just going into this allegory about censorship because TikTok's a piece of shit. So, like, YouTube's always been hard. They have their rules. I know they want you to use certain things, reactions, do this. Don't just put up footage without you putting yourself into it, something else. What's up, Stephanie? And that's fine. Everybody can live with YouTube doing that. Nobody cares. It's not like the rules with YouTube are much clearer. This is what you can do. This is what you can't do. Don't use copywritten bullshit. Talk about it. If you have to, whatever. Try not to make AI. You can use faceless as long as you're not using AI. Okay, we get it. Fantastic. The bar is higher for YouTube. It's more difficult to grow on YouTube. But if and when it does, it's more rewarding. Right? I am on Upscrolled. I just haven't put a video up on there for quite some time. I need to go do that. You're right. So then you look at TikTok. You say, well, why do you go to... Yeah, that was supposed to be the free speech app, and they weren't. What's up, Woodsman? How you doing? I like your government ideas, by the way, and you're right. I read what you sent her. I read that. We've got a lot of work to do. We got a lot of work to do with that. As far as getting a political party, they took my live away for.
Accidentally flip to the next live stream.
Yeah. Yeah, I made a video about that.
Did you?
Yeah, about the $8.50 a gallon. Yeah. So I just say, look, there's something. It's not even different about TikTok. I get that it's whatever. It's whatever you want it to be. We're just talking right now. I'm going to go over the news in a minute and we can put our opinions. It's an independent live stream. So I say, well, TikTok is obviously suppressing people politically. There obviously is an external force, right? That's telling people don't show this, don't show that, don't do this, don't do that, only talk about this, suppress this. Why did I vote for Trump? I voted for Trump twice, actually. And I voted for Trump the first time because you fucked me over with Bernie Sanders. So, congratulations on doing that. And then the second time was because didn't want Kamala Harris. I sat out the middle one because I thought it was both diarrhea. And before that, I voted for, it wasn't Bush. It was another independent. I generally vote independent. Damn, that sucks. Mostly, I don't like to vote straight tickets either. So a lot of times when I vote, I'll have like a mixed Democrat and Republican. So generally speaking, I will, you made this happen with your vote. Yeah, oh yeah, me and 80 other million Americans made it happen. You know what didn't happen? You voted for Biden and you still made it like this. So you have to understand that if you agree that you're better politically, you're a dumb fuck. Because there is no better politically. And if you haven't figured that out yet, I don't know what to tell you. right? If you haven't figured out that Biden was a piece of shit too, I don't know what to tell you.
He has no fucking right to say anything if he's not.
Oh, you're not American. Well, then suck my dick. I don't give a fuck what you say. You have these and fucking nuts. I don't care. If you're Canadian, you have a little more say. So if you're Canadian, I will talk to you slightly more. If you're not American and you're telling me about our voting system, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Because you don't know that you only have 2 political parties. Let me guess. You're from Europe and you have 7 political parties in your country, right? We don't do that here. We're stuck, fuckface. What's up, America, Pope? How you doing, Don? Thank you. So this isn't like England or France or Germany where you Biden 13 times in 2020. Yeah, I bet you did. I bet you did. Anyway, but that's what that is. So you have to understand, in the United States, your choices are very limited. When Trump came in, so let me take you back real quick. Let me take you back a little while ago. So back in whatever, when fucking after Obama was done, you had Jeb Bush. Jeb Bush. Yeah, we don't have multiple political, let me see your light real quick. We don't have multiple political parties here. You're either a socialist or you're a conservative here. Right? There's no, you don't have a choice. You're either, yeah, well, tell me. I've lived in Australia. I've lived other places. I know the difference. You're not talking to some retard, okay? I went to grad school and I've been worldwide, right? I've been to Europe. I've been to fucking Australia. I've lived down there in other countries. This isn't shit kicker America video live stream, okay? So first, let's get that out of your head. Second of all, until the world can actually change and evolve in their governments, I don't know what to tell you. I've said it a million times. You don't like capitalism or conservatism, that's fine. But socialism and communism is also slightly retarded. They're all antiquated horse shit. It's all antiquated horse shit. So like socialism, what does that have bearing on 2026? Yeah, I was much younger, Ghost. So 2026, what does communism have to offer now? Nothing. What is socialism? What does fascism have to offer in the year 2026? Right? We're trying to get Star Trek governments going on here, and we're fucking playing in the toilet bowl of the past. Well, if we just did more socialism and what? Return to 1957? What the fuck is that? That's stupid. That sucks. What about communism? That doesn't work either. That sucks. What about capitalism? Well, it's a broken piece of shit. What do you want from me? You want me to tell you? Oh yeah, you're wrong about capitalism. Yeehaw! No, capitalism just breaks less quickly, right? But it still has a lifespan, just like every other thing does. Yeah, I know. That's the thing. I know. You're preaching to the choir. I completely know. Yeah. But what we have here, so like, I wanted to, like, for instance, with Iran, like, I don't know where everybody's from. Put your country in the chat if you want to. It's very fantastic. I will talk about the political, why I did what I did. But I want to get in real quick to Iran. The reason we're in Iran is multifold. So a lot of people will say, well, it's Israel, it's oil, it's killing civilians, it's terrorism. Why are you thinking it's just one or the other? Play 4D chess. It's all of them. What the fuck is wrong with you? Of course, Turkey, UK, not bad. Not bad. I love Turkish food, by the way. I'd like to go to the Blue Mosque or the Hagia Sophia one of these days. Oh, yeah, my grandma's been to Turkey. But you have to understand it can be all those things. It doesn't have to be just one or the other, right? Because I do know everything. It's a shame you don't. Yeah, why are you being blocked? Oh, man, was I telepathic? Oh, look at that. Shame. See, I told you I knew everything. Fantastic. Nevertheless, in order to move forward You have to play out of the toilet bowl. But as far as Iran is concerned, the reason the United States is going in Iran is they're publicly telling you two things, and then they're doing two others on top of what they're telling you. So, Ellie. So, publicly, the United States government and Israel will tell you what UAE responded to Lindsay. I have not. So publicly, the United States says we want regime change because these people are killing civilians. All right. And then we want regime change because they're going to have two planes. I have not. I'll check that out. And that there's also, I've heard about the news. I'll get into some of this here in a minute. What's up, B Vance? The King. What's up, America? But then there's also the domination of Western governments with oil that'll get involved. There's the fucking Israeli revenge, basically because of, hell, you're good, man. Whatever's clever. Hell yeah, JS, there you go. And so there's 4 or 5 things that are actually going on when it comes to why we're going in Iran. Publicly, they're going to tell you 2. Because they don't want to tell you, I'm taking this over for Western oil dominance. I'm taking this over to avenge Israel for the Yemeni and Hezbollah and Iranian attacks. And this is a dick measuring contest on top of these things. But a lot of people don't want to hear that. They say, well, our government's better than yours. Well, at the moment, our government doesn't murder 60,000 civilians and Iran's does. But other governments do that all the time. So, like, for instance, I get the question, then why aren't we going into North Korea? The reason is because North Korea is militarily backing China, or backed by China, and Iran's not. So if you invaded North Korea and started blowing up Pyongyang like we're doing to save people in concentration camps, this is tradition for USA fighting Arabs. It's always been. Well, it started with the Barbary Coast in the early or late 1700s and early 1800s when they used to take American sailors hostage. And so we went and started blowing up Libya at one point to get our people back. And then there was also the slave trade of the Arab world back all the way through the Ottoman Empire, Armenian genocides. The United States didn't really do a lot of bombing the Middle East until after World War II, and that's because the British installed the Jews into the region that they declared Palestine, even though it was actually British Transjordan. You see what I'm saying? So these people out here will keep saying, well, that was Palestine. It was never Palestine. It was called the Ottoman Empire, and then it was called British Transjordan. France had French Syriac, or French Syria, which was Syria, Lebanon, and some territories that were southern Turkey and a couple other places. Those were French. So it's never been Palestine. Well, there was a manhole cover that said Palestine. Yes, because at some point when it was a military mandate, the British government called it British Palestine. It was never Palestinian. It was an English mandate militarily that they turned into Transjordan. What was Transjordan? Israel, Jordan, a little bit of Lebanon, and if I recall, some Egypt, but don't quote me on that. Saudi Arabia was its own kingdom, but it was always backed by the British. So at some point after World War I, the Ottoman, because they got that as a spoil of war from the World War I. So if you wonder how did the British and French get Arab territory, they got it from the Ottoman Empire's demise after World War I. That's why England controlled Egypt and fucking parts of Tunisia. That's why they controlled northern Libya till the Nazis came in for a while. That's why they controlled Egypt and all this, or Israel and all this other shit. None of those were actual nations. But after World War II, there was a decolonization effort. So during that decolonization effort, you had the English leave India, which was India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, gave it to them and told them to fuck off with that. After the one guy, some general shot a bunch of Sikhs that were protesting. Then, well, no, they were territories that once the British government took it over, your nation ceases to exist. This is one thing people need to get a grip with. if you have a nation and another nation takes you over, and then 50 years pass, that nation destroys and it's something else, that nation's gone. It's
Puerto
just,
Rico's not a nation.
yeah, it's like Puerto Rico's not a nation either. It's like once your nation is conquered, it becomes historical, right? So like Rhodesia will never be a nation again. There's actually retards out there like, bring back Rhodesia. That's stupid. It's a mix of 3 countries. It will never happen. That's the dumbest shit. Or the South will rise again. No, it's called America now. What the fuck is wrong? Like, you know, or like the Northern Territory will secede. No, you won't. That's the difference. That's why people don't explain it very well. They say, well, it's not stolen land, it's conquered land. And they say it and it sounds racist or stupid because they don't explain it well. The, the cultural fabric of sewing that as a nation together has been smashed and scattered. Now, you could bring it back if you would like to, right? But it's a very improbable thing. Like, you could bring back the Ottoman Empire, right? Absolutely. But you would have to fight Turkey and Armenia, fucking Jordan, Syria, Lebanon, Israel, Egypt, fucking Saudi Arabia, like all these countries. So you're not going to do that. That's conquered. That's stolen land. Well, no, it's destroyed, conquered. You now fail to exist as a functioning unit. Your history and your pride and all that still exists, but your as a nation reality no longer exists. It's like saying, well, what about the Mayan people? Your culture exists. Your nation does not, and it won't return, right? So this is the thing we have to get out of people's heads, and I don't know when this started. Like, we're going to take you're not going to take it back. Unless the ruling party of your nation gives it willingly to you, it's not coming back. You say, well, I don't want to believe that. I can resist and fight, and you can't, though. These people are better armed. What's up, Gino? What's up, Gino? These people are better armed. They have more fucking weapons than you. They have more people that fucking care. All we can do now is just be proud that your culture or tribe or whatever it is exists. Because some people in the past tried to wipe out somebody, an entire race or culture, so they never existed again. Some of them succeeded. There are some nations out there. I got a very good hit, Frog. There are some nations out there that the people are all dead. That line is executed. The government executed them, or whoever it was. You say, oh my God, we're not that bad. Of course we're not. So that's just, anyway, but Palestine has never been a nation. And even then, what you have is you have the territory of the West Bank that's administered by the Palestinian Authority, but is occupied by Israel. Therefore, it once again doesn't make it a nation. It makes it an occupied territory that you named. Once again, same with Gaza. Gaza is now an occupied territory. You say, well, no, Gaza is Palestine. It's not. It's an occupied territory. So what that means is that you don't possess it. You don't have the legal or physical or military rights over it. So therefore, you can't govern, make plans. You can't, even your resistance is useless. That's just the realities. The Roman Empire used to smash cultures like that also. Spartacus. And so you say, well, we got to move on. Well, you're coming into, and I've talked about this several times. I know I have the news to get to. I know I got to speed run it. You're getting into a time in the world when spheres of influence are all that matter. Your nation state is really irrelevant. Same as your color and your sexuality and your sex and your gender, all that. all of it's irrelevant now. You're operating in 3 or 4 different spheres of influence. And so you have a Western sphere of influence, you have a Chinese sphere of influence, or you have a global South sphere of influence. Some that are coming up better than others, like Argentina and some South American nations, which I'm actually quite proud that Argentina is taking a stance to do what it does. I think they went a little too drastic, but the guy's fucking psycho, so whatever. He's a Lothario also. Nevertheless, I support his movements. Now, you have to say that when you have 3 spheres of influence, no matter where you go, I twist your 2 spheres of influence. Yikes. You have a way it operates. So if you go to Japan and South Korea, if you go to the Philippines, you go to Australia, New Zealand, or Western Europe, even if you're French and you hate us, it all sort of operates the same way. If you go to China and the Pacific Islands mostly, Indonesia, former Indochina, fucking Malaysia, Indonesia, stuff like that. That's a Chinese sphere of influence. It's spreading in Africa also. And they tried in South America. And then, of course, you have the global South sphere of influence, which is a mix of India, Iran, Large Marge Sincha, India, Iran, African and South American nations, and some other mid-level players like Turkey, that even though they're in NATO, those are the global South sphere of influence. And this global South sphere of influence, unfortunately, I have no idea. It's been in there for a while, but I think I got it out of the drawer a while ago. You'll have to look. The global South does not have the capabilities to outpace the other spheres of influence. So, the fate of the global South is going to be divided between, well, you have 4 spheres of influence if you add Russia, but that's it? Okay. So, sorry about the big hit. I'm going to have to put that out. I can't do it. Otherwise, I'm going to be sitting here just fucking choking for an hour. I can't do that.
That one doesn't even have concentrated.
No, is that just regular weed one?
Yeah, you just broke it.
Oh, well, here, put that out. God damn. Sorry, it's just fucking bad, man. I don't want to sit here and cough so much. I really...
Without concentrate.
I ain't taking no history lesson from a pothead loser. Now, look at you. Suck a dick, fuckface. And I even agreed with a third of you. Suck my dick. Oh my God, are you serious? I went to grad school and I've been studying history for 30 years. And you're sitting there saying, oh, I'm not taking anything from that. And you were a Nazi, by the way. Once again, why I don't support you retards. That being the case, where was I before I started talking shit and dying?
I'm not sure.
Oh, the global South only has one place to go. And that's to be piecemealed by the other spheres of influence. That's all that will happen. Yeah, history's been rewritten, but you're a piece of shit, though. That's the thing, Spartacus. You're not going to come on with multiple accounts and just sit here and...
Oh, no, he was ignoring the other guys in between.
Oh, okay.
So that's what I'm saying.
Oh, nevertheless. But either way, the global South, I know history. I've read your history. And yes, you're not going to do one of those things. Well, the Holocaust, that may not have... Yes, it did. Okay, I've been to the Holocaust Museum. We're not doing your stupid conspiracy Nazi history. That's all horse shit. I've seen the piles of fucking goods. I've seen the fucking, what do they call them? Furnaces and the Zyklon B and the fucking... I've seen all that shit. You're fucking retarded, okay? Nevertheless, your 3 spheres of influence are going to eat up the global South for resources. That's where you're going to end up in life. I don't know what to tell you. There is no other place. China will piecemeal Africa and South America. The United States is doing it currently. You're watching it happen to our set. And Russia's doing the same with Africa and some other nations in Asia, slowly, kind of low-key partnering with China through BRICS, but kind of keeping them at a distance like they always have. Like they'll work together, but not like you think, but they kind of do. Thank you, Moxie. So the spheres of influence are odd because China economically expands. So they'll say that I'm going to build highways and ports and all this other shit, and then you're going to let us put our military there in your country. So effectively taking military control of a country by building their infrastructure, getting them out of poverty, right? So that's one of the unintended consequences of having colonialism in the Western governments for so long, is it kept Africa, Asia, and the Middle East so poor, same with Central America mostly, that eventually when China came, they said, fuck yeah, I'm definitely, because we're sick of being poor, because all of our resources are going to America and fucking Europe, and we're getting dick for it, right? We're getting, here's a pair of old shoes from a Sally Struthers commercial. Hope you don't starve, fuckface. Well, they're not stupid. They get sick of it in Africa, right? They get sick of knowing they're mining fucking precious metals and they're getting 10 cents on the fucking pound for it, and you're getting 400 grand for the same amount. They're not stupid. They understand you're ripping them off, but they don't have a choice. Kind of like when you say vote more than two parties here. So that they want to do is Africa and Southeast Asia is saying we're sick of being taken advantage by the West. So they give their loyalties economically to China. So you have Burma with loyalties to China. You have a great deal of African nations and Southeast Asian nations, with less with Vietnam, which is weird, saying that there's influence. Then you have the Western governments that are on the decline. And you say, wait a minute. What do you mean we're on the decline, the Western governments? The Western governments are on the decline because they're too soft. They have, because of their retraction of empire, they have become socially minded only, okay? And the social mindedness of the West is making them say, we want hands off all this because we want your people to rule themselves. The problem is that these people, after we leave, after colonialism, have no means to rule themselves. So, for instance, look at like the Congo. The Western governments ran all that shit. The fact that the mail worked, the trains ran on time, the ferries worked, the logistics, it ran because the Western governments, hold on, I'll get to your question in a minute. It ran because the Western governments are the ones that maintained and brought the skilled laborers to these African nations to run the railroads and shit. Once colonialism happened and it finished, the Western government said, we're leaving our shit here. It's up to you to decide how to run your country. You're not going to have our expertise to run your factories and repair your trains and all this other shit. So, the African nations and the Southeast Asian nations were charged with the ability to lead your country into prosperity. You have a country with a lot of resources. So what happened? Corrupt people took over, stole the money and resources, made corrupt deals with Western governments that had already just left, brought them back in to rape the people financially, and are still doing so. And then when it got out of hand, warlords would arise, start civil wars, to the point where people were cannibalizing each other, and some of them, like Liberia or in Sierra Leone. And then the Western governments, and now the Chinese governments are coming in, thank you, Moxie, to say, well, we're giving you a little bit more. So why would the African governments turn to China? Because if you've ever seen the infrastructure of what remains in Africa right now, a lot of the countries, like for instance, the Gambia and Guinea-Bissau, they have some of the best redwood forests in the world. tables are made that cost $100,000 from this shit. These people cut the wood and transport it on trucks from the 50s and 60s. The roads are not paved. It's dilapidated. Their shit breaks down. They're barely paid for doing dangerous work that obviously in Western countries would have to fucking have lawyers stop. And then they get it to the mill and they'll have a piece of redwood, a whole tree. They'll sell it for $20 or $30 to split among 5 men. And the company takes that same thing and makes $250,000 from it when it's all said and done. So you say, well, why aren't you paying the African laborers more money? Because the Western companies are shysters and they're stealing from them. You see how that works? They're shysters and they're stealing from them. But because these African countries have been in war and poverty so long, there's no jobs for these people. So this is what you get. And you're lucky to have that, which is basically another form of slavery, only it's free-range slavery. Do you see how that works? So that's what they did to Africa. So these countries that are war-torn shitholes, for lack of a better term, that have no infrastructure to speak of, that still have the plague in some places, now all of a sudden China comes in and says, you know those trains that you used to have back in the 50s? When the Western countries, we'll build that and operate it for you. We'll build a highway. We'll give you cheap electric cars that cost 4,000 euro instead of fucking 38,000 US dollars like you get in the fucking, Ethiopia? Not because the cars are good. These will be 12-year-old cars that are 40 grand. But because there's a necessity and there's no fucking supply. So China's coming in, flooding the market with cheap goods like they did here and Belt and Road. That's right. Building ports, building highways, naval and military bases. That's part of it. Look at Djibouti and a couple other countries, Eritrea and others. And this is a setup. You have to understand. This is a logistical and infrastructure setup for Chinese ease of movement. So, after the 200-year plan is finished, and Xi Jinping of China has only talked about this publicly a couple of times, right? I've been to many Catholic churches. I don't know what I am now. I mean, I'm Lutheran, but you know what I mean. And so the Belt and Road Initiative is not just on the land, it's on the water too. It involves a series of interconnected ports. It's going to be considered the modern Silk Road. That will start in the 2050s, right? Xi Jinping already knows he'll be dead. Oh, dude, it's not a meritocracy at all. I wish. It's a couple of things. It's a plutocracy, it's an oligarchy, and it's a fucking technocratic shithole coming up here, mixed with slight socialism with conservative overtones, which is a real weird mix. We call it a constitutional republic, but we're not. But we're sure as shit not a democracy either. So, the Belt and Road Initiative worldwide will have, there's no socialist left. They're communists now. But they're going to start from South or North Korea, right? And Russia, all the way to Sakhalin Island, or those islands. And it'll go all the way through Mongolia, all the way to Eastern Europe and the Balkans, going through Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, going down through former French Indochina out to Port Moresby, all the way to fucking Papua New Guinea, down to Burma, partnered with India through BRICS, of course, down through certain African nations that go through Egypt, down to South Africa, over the top of Africa to get those resources. Ports of Chinese interest being built in places like Greece, Italy, and Spain already. We have South American interests for the Belt and Road Initiative. The only ones that are excluded are Western Europe and the United States and its allies. You see what I'm saying? And so the world is gearing up. China's leading the way with the building of a Belt and Road Initiative that's a modern Silk Road. Now, the islands and these other places are supported by ports. So you're going to be having a major network of very high-tech logistics that will bring products all the way to North Korea. This is why they don't need America anymore. So a lot of people, well, you need America because we have the money. And no, they're building around you. We just don't see it because you haven't lived at or been outside the country. Once you get outside the sphere of influence, you start seeing it. And you say, okay, so the United States has partners around the world, but their partnerships are waning. So the United States is pulling away from world leadership. Even though Trump is exerting power right now, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that Trump's exerting power. It's flailings is what it is. Europe is becoming more Chinese or Sino-centric. A lot of African nations, particularly the ones that are the most poverty-stricken that we took advantage of years ago, are now becoming Sino-centric. Same with places like Nicaragua, places like fucking Costa Rica, low-key, Guatemala, Belize, places that we kind of meddled with the CIA and shit are becoming Sino-centric. And the reason that is because they have, and it's not propaganda, it's the realities. And you can say, well, what about the United States? We're flexing our muscle. We are flexing our muscle, but the problem is with the United States is we have already outsourced all of our manufacturing. So even we're rotting from the core because we betrayed our own nation by sending our factories and workforces to China and Mexico, which are heavily influenced with China anyway. And then they made backdoor deals in your political leadership to bring Chinese products over to America. And if you say, well, it's just propaganda. Okay, pick up anything in your house. Thank you, Moxie. Pick up anything in your house and look at where it's made. If it says made in America, I will eat my fucking hat. I can pick up 30 products within arm's reach of me, and I guarantee about 80 to 90% of them will be made in China. And you keep saying, well, we're American. We believe in America. Yeah, you do. Your manufacturing doesn't. Your billionaires don't. Your companies don't. Your elected leaders don't. It's rotting from the core. You need to have an American Belt and Road Initiative to make this work. And I've been screaming that, evolving the infrastructure and all this for years. But if you can't do that, then your country will start to rot, and it is. Now, is China rot? Yes, also. But China can placate its losses to other nations and mull it with resources. So China can say, we took on a great deal of debt, for instance, of building ports and roads and trains in Kenya. So in order to get rid of that, I would love high-speed rail here. I have a plan for that. Than my government. Then what China will do is China will say, oh my God, we built you an airport and a highway. Tanzania, you owe us $5 billion. And Tanzania says, we are negative $400 million already. And they'll say, I have a 50-point plan.
No.
I'll read it tomorrow.
No, you won't.
Why?
Because we're driving to Tennessee.
Well, why do you have to say it's shitty?
I didn't say it's shitty.
It's like, cuz. It's like, no, what about Saturday?
Well, I mean, we're going to be in Tennessee.
I might go live on Saturday and read my plan. Because I read it, but it takes a long time. It's everything from getting rid of term limits and making lobbying illegal to getting rid of private prisons and what was the one? High-speed rail, infrastructure plans, making people have 70% American labor, or you can't operate here as an American company. If you go on Twitter, my Twitter page, Sup America on Twitter, it's got like 3,200 followers. It's a pinned comment, and that's my whole plan. And so you can check that out if you'd like. But basically, what happens is China says we bought we bought a highway for you. We built this for you. We built this for you. You don't have the money to pay for it because you're an African country in poverty. So if I said a 4-day work week, it's actually on my list. Check it out. I'm serious. Go on to Twitter, Sup America. It's my pinned comment. That way you can read it without. I need to write a book on it, but you know, TikTok sucks my ass. Fuck faces. But China will say you have to pay us something for the airport and the highway and this shit. And so what do they pay? They pay their resources to China. So you'll say over in the Gambia, for instance, well, we built the roads are garbage in the Gambia, absolute garbage, and so are the ports. So China will come in and they'll build a new port for the people, and they'll build the roads. And so then the Gambia will say, well, we owe China $690 million, and we're negative $200 million in our budget. Well, then China will say, I want the rights to a third of this forest. Remember that wood I was talking about that's at 250 grand a piece? We want the rights to a third of that forest. So what do? In Chinese fashion, they come and cut it all down, environmental damage, take every bit of it, mine the resources, strip it totally, and you have no situation, you have no recourse for that. They do it, they take more than they are supposed to get. And then on top of that, you might have signed a deal saying that they have rights to post maybe 5,000 soldiers in your country. Because at first, you're poverty stricken and it looked very good, right? It was one of those things where you're like, well, our people are starving, they don't have food, and the Western governments are like giving us charity. We want to stand on our own. But the things aren't there. Now, once the Chinese government puts these things into place in these countries, you will say, well, surely the African people own that shit, right? Well, some of it. I would say World War III. Close, though. Close there, Ghost. Very close. But the African people will own some of it, and then they won't own some of it. So, like, they will own, like, you know, some of the equipment that comes in, they may own or may get access to it. They, like the airports, they will own it in the sense that if a war broke out, they would take it over. But Chinese are operating it, but they're employing you. And maybe you have some governors or country heads that are attached to it. But if your African country tries to expel, now this is in New York City, St. Patrick's Cathedral. But if you try to expel the Chinese government, they'll bring troops in and shoot you. Because now you're in bed with them. Now you can't leave. You see what I'm saying? And so that's what the Chinese government did. And the United States, hell yeah, New York City. I gotta love it. But the United States and the West did not do that. Okay? The United States and the West retracted and started infighting with each other over racism and free Palestine. And COVID shots and Russian war. And so we've been, as a collective, Western society, have been playing in a full toilet bowl. While the rest of the world is expanding. Everybody's at work building. The United States and its Western allies looked over and said, hey, there's a toilet bowl full of shit. I'm going to put my hand in it and just spin it around. Well, sir, the rest of the world is actually building. Hold on, I'm playing in turds. But, sir, we have to... Nope, I'm just spinning the turds around. Back and forth, sloshing the water. Well, sir, they're building an army. I know. Ooh, look, we're making little men out of it now. Woo-hoo. Little poop men. Yay. Blowing bubbles in the toilet. Hey. And you're thinking to yourself, because we've been watching this train wreck in the Western world for the better part of 15 years or longer. And we've been like, why are we blowing bubbles in the toilet? And you ask questions, and it's just like, the answers you get are, you're like, what the fuck? These people are starting to outpace us. You're like, stop playing in the toilet bowl. And then finally... you get, you know, and I'm not even going to say Trump because he's still playing in the toilet bowl with the billionaires at least. But you say, well, we want to like build an empire sort of, because these people are building an empire and they're going to eat our lunch and we're going to be fucking the GDP of Romania at some point. Then finally someone gets off the toilet and realizes, oh my God, they're going to kill us and take all of our resources. We need to live. So then what do? They start flailing about. How can you stop the billionaires? I know a way, but you don't want to do it. And you're not going to get money for it. It'll just stop it from continuing. Because you're not going to have access to their money. If you just remove them, the resources don't magically go back. You just have them gone and you can steal what shit you can see of them. Right? But at the same time, you don't have that. But if you have like, I was thinking wood chipper there, but if you have like a great terror, right? If you have like the great terror going on after you do that, you can't do that either. Because humans have the implication, they're like chimpanzees. So like they'll say, we'll get the billionaires, so they'll take them out. Oh, you had a nice middle class home. Then you'll kill that family. Oh, you have a new pair of socks? And you kill that person. Then it's like the Khmer Rouge. Oh, you have glasses. You're smart. Let's blow your brains out. Right? What's up, America? What's up, kid? You can't, so you gotta like keep it together. You know what I'm saying? But like and it's not even rich people. You gotta understand, capitalism isn't terrible, but it has a lifespan. The problem isn't people that made money out of hard work. The problem is the 3,000 top wage earners. That's really your problem. The 3,000 top money holders are the ones that hold 95% of all money in America. So I don't know if you realize this. I know you have an okay life probably. You're making what, 50,000 a year? Yeah, we're making it, right? We can afford it. Okay. The top 3,000 people in America hold 95% of the world's money. So all 300 million of you are operating with 5%, maybe 6% available money. So the top 3,000 people could literally cut 6% from their money, and it would double or even triple your lifestyle. So let's say the rich could, instead of making 95% of the money, the rich could make 89% of the world's money. Those 3,000 people, and every person in America would have it half as difficult. Every person, 330 million of you, would have your life half as difficult. Half as difficult. It would be, your cars would be half price. Your apartments would be half price. Your health care would be half price. Your groceries would be half price. These fuckfaces would still make 89% of the available money in the country. And you would be able to afford, like, so you have a $400 grocery bill, it'll be $170. Your car is $50,000, it is $21,500. Your apartment is $1,800 a month, it is $950 a month. Your utility bills are $470 a month, it is $198 a month. That's the difference. They could do that for you and still make 89% of the world's money in the top 3,000 people. They just don't, because they're dick suckers. You see? It's not really difficult to figure out. Well, why won't they do it? Why won't they help the poor? Because they're pieces of shit. These aren't people that were poor, that grew up in a trailer. One more joint and I'll get off. You like we're dying. Well, I'm not now. I love you. So like, these are people that like, if you grew up in a trailer park and now your company's worth $10 million, you're not rich. You don't understand. Of course you can ask a question. You're not rich at all, right? You're a guy that made $10 million off your hard work. We're talking about, I have $700 billion. I have $200 billion. I could spend $1 million a day, every day, for the next 4,000 consecutive years, and I would still have $25 billion left over. And you say, well, hold on a second. Well, my wife, she's my moderator. And so you can sit here and say, wait a minute. So all you have to do is give up 5 or 6% of your wealth, and the country, not the world, the country would have it half as hard. Yep. Well, why aren't you doing it? Because I'm a piece of shit, and I hate you. I would rather take my money and flush it down a toilet than give it to you, poor plebe, you fucking piece of shit. You fucking ant. That's exactly how they feel. And there used to be an Instagram page. I don't know if it's still there, called the Rich Kids of Instagram. And the guy would get on there with a wad with $5,000, and he would open up a toilet bowl, and he would feed the money in the toilet and flush it down the drain. And he would say, oh, you can't afford an apartment? And he would just put 5,000 euro in the drain, hit the button, and watch it go down. Fuck you. Because I have it, poor people. Or they'd make videos, I'm eating peasant food. And he's sitting there eating McDonald's. Well, that's peasant. Some people love that shit, right? No, fuck you. You can suck my dick. I'm going to throw $5,000 in a fucking river to make it so you're sad. And I'm going to laugh at your misfortune. And I'm going to use that as nightmare fuel to make me look like my dick is bigger and I'm better. And you know what? On top of that, I'm going to get a hot girl with that attitude, because there's going to be some baddie out there that's going to bang me because I'm a fucking narcissist, because she's a psycho too. And that psychotic behavior attracts her for some reason. And we're going to drive cars that will drive 10,000 miles, and we'll exchange them. And we're not going to we'll just break them. We'll drive them like fucking pieces of shit. Yeah, that's right. And that is where I come in. Heil! We have to take our fucking evil. No, hey, what was that?
Let him talk.
Was that? The sun also rises. Wait a minute, what? Hey. Wir at das righteous Macht. Das Housing of Gehst du immer. Deutschland hat... Oh, hey.
Let him speak.
Let him speak.
He's making a speech.
Ein Volk, ein Deutscher, ein...
Don't interrupt him.
I don't know German. Ich bin 44 Jahre alt. Mein Geburtstag ist März 1982. Yeah. I'll get back. I don't know what to say. Give me a minute, okay? But yes, eating out's not even enjoyable also. You go out, so for instance, I'll just put it to you this way. I have me and my wife and 2 kids, okay? We went to go eat Mexican food. Was it? Or was it that fucking diner? Oh, it was the diner. We ate at a diner. So the diner should have been like, back at, 5 years ago, it would have been a 32. Yeah, so my one daughter only got fruit and fucking French fries. We got meals, the other 3. 1 drink, not like we lived high on the hog, right? We weren't fucking, raking it in with the gold flake steaks or anything. Just a simple diner. Now, this meal would have been $36, probably 5 years ago. How much was it? $74? Plus tip, that was $89 for something that's $35. And I'm like, of course, I didn't expect that high price, because the last time I ate out, which is not very often, it was, 30% less. So something is afoot here at the Circle K. I don't know what the fuck it is, but prices are horrific. So, like, every now and again, my kid will be off school. If she has a day off, break, whatever. And so we'll go to the mall from time to time. Place called Asian Chow. It's kind of like a Panda Express, but it's in the mall. Used to have them everywhere. They don't anymore. I can tell you why they don't. A simple, it used to be, we could probably all three eat for $24. $24. What's up, Ziggy? $24. 25, probably 30 if you added drinks maximum. If we all got that shit, it's like, was it $58 to $62? $65, almost $70 if you get drinks. And you say, well, wait a minute, hold on. A piece of pizza used to cost $3. Well, that's like $7 now. It's pizza. It's not a luxury staple, ladies and gentlemen. It's fucking pizza. It's dough, cheese of some grade and variation, maybe pepperoni. It's not like we're putting, methylene blue gold basil on it or whatever the fuck it is. And I just say, okay, so now you have companies charging exorbitant fees. The prices are too fucking high. Now, why are the prices high? There's only two reasons this happens. One is severe inflation, or two, or not severe inflation, severe cost increase, meaning the product price goes up, or the value of your dollar goes into the toilet. There's no other option for this. Either the shit you're purchasing costs double, or the value of your dollar is half of what it was. There's not a third option here other than we're, making it all up. If it's just we're making it all up, that's a third option, I guess. But if you have any semblance of sanity, either your costs or how much it costs to get the raw material, like a coca bean into chocolate, if that's doubled, or the value of your dollar has gone down, or both. Here in America, even under Trump, just this year, the value of our dollars lost 10%. You understand that's catastrophic, right? You understand that that's a major issue. If you don't understand that, I don't know what to tell you. That's one of the most horrific drops. And our dollar's value is already down 97%. So, from 1962 or whatever. So that being the case, you say, well, it's an absolute shit show. It's horrific. Now, it started under Joe Biden. It continued under Trump. Why did it start under Joe Biden? Couple of reasons. One is because of insane price gouging. One is hyperinflation caused by Joe Biden's energy and financial policies. Not that Trump's financial policies are any better, but the overt cost mainly came from price gouging and energy policy under Joe Biden. So when you say the companies were price gouging, that was about half of the problem. The other half of the problem was the energy secretary holds a lot of financial weight because the energy costs dictate shit called logistics. And if you don't understand that, you're retarded. So if you have diesel fuel going from $1.30 a gallon to $5 a gallon, your transport costs and your logistic costs will go up approximately 400%. And you pay for that. You pay. That's the one thing people never talk. They talk about Trump's tariffs. All of that's negligible to high energy costs, right? If you haven't noticed, a diesel used to be cheaper than actual gas. Now diesel is $5 a gallon. That's a problem when it comes to pricing. That happened because of Joe Biden. Now, the reason that happened is because the energy secretary under Joe Biden told everybody we want to be net zero carbon by the end of Joe Biden's term. So all the shipping ports and all the logistics were changed to environmentally friendly electric vehicles, buses that were electric that break down in the cold, retarded shit that was good on paper but didn't match anything. Thank you, April. And so like in New Hampshire, I think it is, or maybe it's Vermont. Thank you, April. They have like 80 buses that don't operate. Thank you, April, because they're electric buses, but it gets to 20 below zero. So they have buses just sitting there. Well, they were electric. They were good. First of all, the electric comes from diesel or coal power or natural gas. That's what makes it happen in the first place. And second of all, it wasn't good because you can't operate them in the cold. Electric's useless in a place anywhere fucking north of the Mason-Dixon line. Thank you, Moxie. So you don't do things like that. You don't fucking buy electric shit in the cold. We're not there yet, stupid. But they do it anyway. And so this rigmarole of retardation with the energy sector has caused an absolute catastrophe. Now that we're attacking Iran, Iran knows that. Iran's not stupid. They're inept militarily, but they're not stupid. They understand that we're retarded when it comes to energy. They understand that we have more oil than God and we're not using it because we have shit for brains. We have more oil than we can shake a goddamn stick at under our feet. You can't imagine. But what we do is we make up any reason to not get it so that we can get political donations and run it through nonprofits to basically steal it for politicians. So, and you say, well, 100 men wouldn't do that and fuck over all of America for their own gain. Yeah, they would. Are you stupid? What the fuck? Yeah, of course they would. 100 congressmen would get together and fuck you over and keep prices high on purpose. What are you, out of your mind? What, do you think they're moral? You think they're gods? Fuck you. If you believe that, you're too stupid. Of course they would get together to rip you off. It's a Ponzi scheme. They would fuck over 80 million people just to make themselves rich. Obviously they would. You say, well, what about moral? What about a conscience? You have to assume these people have a conscience. You have to also understand that 70% of people don't have an internal monologue. You realize that, correct? Between 50 and 70% of you don't have an internal monologue. You don't have a voice saying it's good or bad. You're void of that. I think a study said at least 50% of you have no internal monologue. The voice that says, I shouldn't do that because maybe that's a problem. You just react emotionally to things. Whatever it is. And the people in charge know that about you. They know it about you and they take advantage of you because of it. And they're going to continue to do it until you gain an internal monologue, and you won't. Because you're either born with it or you don't have it. You can't gain that. And I have an internal monologue. Of course. You should too. If you don't, I don't know what to tell you. You're an NPC plebe. What can I say? Well, but nevertheless, this is going to spark an entire thing because the Iranian government knows where to hit us. The Iranian government says if we get oil to $200 a barrel, it'll cripple the planet. Hey, Celtic Chick saw it. Hell yeah, there you go. Yep, 1 hour. Oh, that was an hour ago. Hell yeah, well, thank you. So that's what it is. And your country, what do we have? 435 Congress, 100 senators, Supreme Court and Congress. That's what rules your day. Various levels of middle management, basically. They'll all steal from you. They'll all do it. And literally 1,500 people will fuck over 300 million people. It's just like France back in the 1600s. Yeah, you have to understand this. It's neo-feudalism. You live in a neo-feudalistic state. That's what you're doing here. I don't know what to tell you. Here you go. I really want to say that's not the case. I know we have freedom, semblance of this, that, and the other. You don't really. You're neo-feudalism now. And it's going to get worse with the AI data centers. Check out my AI data center video on TikTok. I will be putting it up here on YouTube. But most of my long-form videos don't work here on YouTube. So if you can, check out my long-form videos here on YouTube. That would be fantastic. I would say, please, for God's sakes, click on one of my videos and watch it 100%. Thumbs upping it. Letting the algorithm know that, because YouTube is very difficult. I saw a lot, Esselly. I got to get into that. Yeah. But yeah, the algorithm here on YouTube is very difficult. So please watch as much as possible. So Iran, and that's news. We're going to get into that speed news real quick. Iran is saying that they are looking to get $200 a barrel of American oil, and they want to crush us economically speaking. Somebody told me that there were fighters that were shot down. Is that correct, or is that fake? A strike from Iran targeting a central intelligence building in Tel Aviv, which handled Middle Eastern affairs and espionage and monitoring operations. So it looks like a major building in Tel Aviv for intelligence was hit. Iran continues to hit Israel's military targets, according to CNN. Tonight it looks like they're doing some big bombings. This has all the potential, ladies and gentlemen, to get into World War III or to escalate into a tactical nuclear conflict. Pillar of smoke is now seen over Arak, Iran. B-52 bombers are expected. Oil tankers have been hit by Iran. So that's going to cause a lot of damage there environmentally. And Israel is failing to intercept missiles. This one successfully hit its target. That was 1 minute ago. It's claimed the sounds of sirens are being heard. And we have, what is this? I don't speak Russian. We have missiles being launched from Iran. I don't speak Arabic. I'll have to translate that one coming up. Hold on a second. Tucker Carlson, I told him he was a piece of shit. Yesterday on one of my TikTok videos, Tucker Carlson said America's not worth fighting for. If we bombed the school, even if we did make a mistake, which is unfortunate, we need to get as much possible as we can to help those people. But America's always still worth fighting for. The Sudanese army continues to liberate local forces from the rapid support forces. So Sudan's becoming semi-free again. Iran claims it has an enormous supply of naval suicide drones and chilling footage, which I did see that. The Chinese government was also supplying Iran, and unfortunately for them, most of those weapons failed to work. So, Hezbollah has attacked Israel once again, having the world stunned at the damage being done there. It has all the hallmarks of World War III setting up with the damage that we're doing here. Okay, so it says that the United States may have lost a KC-135 over Iraq. We'll have to look into that and see if that's real. Central Command reports that Iran shot down a KC-135. I don't know if that's real or not. I'll have to get back. A KC-135, of course, is a fueling tanker. It's an air tanker. And so that would be out of Air Force Base. Because here in northern Indiana, we have an Air Force Base that has the fueling capacity, or the fueling KC-135. So this is being reported by Iran's government. But we're also getting footage that the KC-135 returned safely standing in Tel Aviv, but it's estimated that 2 giant KC-135s collided in the air. So we're still getting, I need to get information. I'll have to look at CENTCOM's website. One crashed, the other returned. Collision marks are shown on the tail, as a couple of people are reporting that 6 crew members are missing. In the same incident, okay, so a massive blow to the United States Air Force as possibly 2 KC-135s, 6 crew members missing. In the same incident, a second KC-135 declared an emergency and landed at Tel Aviv. CENTCOM, Central Command, has confirmed that the crash was not caused by enemy gunfire. On the same day, a fire broke out in the laundry section of the USS Gerald Ford in the Red Sea. Here you go, honey. 2 sailors were injured. The incident was also not related to the war. 2 incidents in one day. The KC-135 aircraft, no one talks about it, never fires any weapons. It hauls fuel. It's a flying gas station, thanks to which other aircraft involved in Operation Epic Fury can do their job. That's 100% correct. So it costs 300, or the price is 390 million dollars, and it was a model old 737. No, it wasn't. It was a 707. Fuckface. KC-135s are modified 707s. So they're not old ones, they're newer ones. They're saying that an F-18, an F-15, and the KC-135s have all been because of accidents, by the way. So we'll report on that coming out because that happened just moments ago. As you know, there was a synagogue attack today. Some lunatic piece of shit drove a car full of explosives into a synagogue in Michigan, got out, and he was shot to death by security forces. So, yeah, possibly one guy on the run. The Iranian government says that the Straits of Hormuz must remain closed, as the new supreme leader may be dead or in a coma. It was reported earlier that the supreme leader, the son of Ayatollah Khomeini, was in a coma and he had his leg blown off. Then he made a statement, but he didn't appear. It was a written statement. So there's still no proof of life of this piece of shit. We had an active shooter at Old Dominion University. That guy was a fucking ISIS supporter. He was kicked out of the National Guard for giving material support to ISIS. That piece of shit was shot and killed. 2 students are shot and they're in critical condition. I don't know if he shot him in the head. It was during test taking. So there are inspired attacks. These are not Iranian government attacks. These are inspired sleeper cells that are adhering and having allegiance to ISIS. So, knowing that, you have to make sure that, and they're going to attack, they go after universities, bars, any place where you're going to actually let your guard down. Right? So I know if you're in public, you're walking, you'll leave your guard up. But I'm talking a place you're going to leave your guard. Where would you leave your guard down? A church? A synagogue? A school? A cafe or a bar, restaurant when you're with your family. Everybody's in an Olive Garden, right? Sitting there having a good time, whatever. You let your guard down because it's an Olive Garden. Everybody's here to eat. They're going to walk in and shoot everybody. That's what these dumb fucks are looking for. They're looking for, oh, hey, you're having a New Year's festival, whatever it is, on the shitter. Yeah, any of that. Right? And you're sitting there saying, okay, well, I'm letting my guard down because I have to do these things, these human things. That's when they attack. That's when they do these things. They're waiting for you to look like you're having a good time, enjoying yourself. Because you're letting your guard down. Then they come in and they start rat-a-tat-tat-ing you like they did in Austin. You know, say, well, why did this? Because a guy with the Property of Allah shirt came on and started shooting people at a bar. And you also have to say they're also going to attack military forces. But they're going to go after things that are haram to them also. Bars, women's gatherings, nightclubs, gay bars, bathhouses, synagogues, churches, places that like bacon houses, places that are haram to their religion. They're going to go for because that's their motivation. I'm sick, like, we've done long enough not profiling people. Profiling is what you need to do when it comes to religious violence. Because the markers are, what is haram in Islam? That is what you need to say. What do you do that's haram? Right? Whatever that is what the targets will be. So, like, what is haram? Let's see, eating pork and animals not slaughtered by Islamic law. alcohol or mind-altering drugs, gambling, bribery, fraud, and theft. And no wonder they go after. Oh. Anyway, social. They don't like zina, which is fornication and adultery, homosexual acts, gossiping, slander, and disrespecting parents, honor killings, but behaviors that are considered fornication or sexual in nature, drinking, doing drugs, eating pork, dressing immodestly, revealing al-ra, and for men wearing gold or silk, clothing appearance, associating partners with Allah, sorcery and idolatry, i.e. other temples, other churches, other religions, Hindu, Buddhist, Christian, Jewish, right? Haram in principle, things forbidden because they cause fear. They believe it causes physical, spiritual, and social harm. Actions that lead to forbidden acts, or actions that also lead to forbidden acts, are haram as well. It covers food, behavior, speech, and financial transactions. So then you say, okay, well, what is haram in America? Okay, well, I believe that, I have a feeling they're not going to go after barbecue joints, but I wouldn't put it past them. Bars, places that serve alcohol. What? That is pork, yeah. That's true. I like pork, though. You know what I mean? Bars, maybe places where you get drugs from. Casinos, places with gambling, or any fraud or theft or anything like that happens. Any places that are like gay bars or sex clubs. Concerts, right, where people are shaking their ass, acting like what they consider whores, right? Anything that's another temple. They believe, Christianity or Judaism or Buddhism or that's idolatry, or it's sorcery to them. So those will be the places. So strip clubs, I wouldn't go to one. I wouldn't go to concerts if I were you. I wouldn't go to sporting events. I'm sure there's money being bet on those. I'm sure they think that's haram. Even though somehow they like soccer, FIFA. They always fucking... Anyway, casinos. I wouldn't be in a casino anytime in the next 6 months to a year. Are you fucking kidding me? Not without a goddamn fucking firearm on me. I wouldn't go to a bar if I were any mass gathering. I would worry about food places, specifically in major cities. They put out a map that shows where to be careful at. They put out a map with like 9 locations on them. Right? And in some of these locations, they're going to be, believe it or not, Dearborn, Michigan's not one of them. As fucked up as that is. I thought that would be like front and center, but nope. Apparently their version of Islam ain't real friendly with Iran. So it's like, yes, Catholics and fucking Baptists. Whatever the fuck it is, that's what it is. And so you say, well, is it going to happen here? The reason I say this is because an FBI report came out saying that there are attacks possibly imminent, and you need to worry about that. You say, well, no, I don't want to believe that happens. You have to watch out for this shit. It's for your own detriment that you pretend it doesn't exist. It's not racism. It's not sexism. It's not Islamophobia. It's I don't want to get shot by one of the people that fucking goes too far with the religion. You understand that? So, like, I don't want to get shot by... Because, okay, so if I go to mosque, Mom Donnie, 90% of the people will welcome me. Assalamu alaikum. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, no shit, right? We're coming in here having a good time. No big deal. We're not disrespecting anybody. We're going to have that flatbread with lamb and the yogurt you dip in later. We're going to have a good talk. Wonderful. Have a nice day. But a couple of percentage of your fucks are saying this guy has ties back to Europe and he needs to be killed. Well, why is that? He's wearing haram. And other people, most of Islam will say, look, Fred, calm down, because his name is Fred Akbar. Look, Fred, calm down, okay? He doesn't believe the same religion as you, and we don't get to dictate. You say, well, in the Quran it says he has to pay a jizya and all these other... Well, no, this is the modern era. Just like you might be Jewish, but you don't stone somebody to death that doesn't believe it. Oh, you married outside the lineage, so we're going to stone you to death. Well, that's why they don't do that in Judaism, because it's 2026. We're not fucking dumb. It's like in Christianity. It's like, well, if this person doesn't tithe, to kill them or what. You don't do that. You might not go to hell for taking yourself out. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know the backings of it all the way, but it's not about the religion now. But there's an intolerant group of every people. But Islam just so happens to be intolerant to the point where I worry that maybe someone will blow me up. And like I said, and then of course in New York City, there was a Jake Lang white supremacist protest, even though only Jake Lang, from what I understand, was the white supremacist there. And what did they do? They threw a bomb at him. Well, it didn't go off in front of Gracie Mansion, thank God. But 2 people I know on TikTok could have been blown up. Well, why is that? Well, they were intolerant to Islam. Okay, so hold on a second. So now I have to adhere to you because of your words in my country that I have free speech. Suck my dick. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to wipe my ass with a Quran and a fucking Bhagavad Gita if I feel like it. Do you understand? Why not the Bible? Because I wouldn't wipe my ass with the Bible. And even if I did, God would understand maybe I need toilet paper and I was too poverty stricken. I'm not going to use my hand. That's gross. But because there's forgiveness. You know what I'm saying? But like, yeah, it was literally 3 people walking with him and a goat. Yeah, I know. And 2 of them I've talked to on TikTok. Jake Lang, though, is a fucking white supremacist. And I can't condone anything that piece of shit did. Because I heard what he said about fucking black babies or whatever it is. And you don't just go on fucking X and look up Jake Lang and hear what he has to say about fucking... And I know I shared that protest that I think you can click on and still see it. I'm not 100% sure. You'll have to look on that. Because I saw a guy that was streaming that. And he's this Jewish guy named I Am the Midnight, and he was streaming the protest, what little there was of it, and he was on the ground when the bomb came in, and it's like, holy fucking shit. So I was like, I gotta post this shit, and damn, that's all I gotta say. It's an overlive stream, so I don't know if it's there anymore or whatever, but you can see, like, Jake Lang. Okay, so how do I put it to you this way? I want you to go to Twitter, if you haven't seen it already, and I want you to look up Jake Lang's video where he was saying the N-word. Okay? Also know that Jake Lang apparently was grooming underage girls. So I just want you to know that. He said, hold on. Let me get an exact quote because I don't want to misquote this racism. But he has a platform because he was arrested and for the J6 bullshit. Hold on. Because I want to read and then we'll get off in a minute. So Jake Lang, before the protest, said he did a Heil Hitler salute. Okay, he said white Christian men are not going to sit around while you turn our country into a bunch of N-word lovers after doing a Nazi salute. So that's what Jake... I'm not going to pull it up because it says the N-word, and they don't bleep it out. You can go look at it yourself. I'm not putting that here on YouTube. But this fucking guy is a Nazi. He dead up said that. How do I put this? And I had a couple people I know document his protest. Now, here's the thing about this. Does he have the right to say that, or is it too inflammatory? Does Islam have the right to attack with force? So Jake Lang, let me just tell you what he did. They drive up, and here's the context. Washington Square Park, New York City, holding a pro-Islam rally, memorial for Ayatollah Khomeini's death. So there were IRGC Iranian sympathizers that were holding a memorial for Khomeini. Now, they have the right to do that, as much as I think that's terrible. They have the right to have that memorial, even though that would be like having a memorial to Hitler. But either way, they have the right to do that abhorrent bullshit. Okay? I would say, well, that's like having a fucking memorial to Pol Pot, or having a memorial to Stalin or something. I don't like it, but there it is. What am I supposed to do? So then Jake Lang, a guy I know on TikTok, and another guy, and fucking this Jewish guy drive up, open the door of a U-Haul. They have a goat, and they say, Khomeini's a goat fucker, and then start saying a bunch of shit about fuck Iran and their government and blah, 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 and fuck Islam, and then they get told to drive away, and they drive away. That's the beginning of it. Now, juvenile as shit, something an alcoholic would probably do. But do they have the right to do that at a Khomeini memorial? Okay, so I want to hear what you have to say. I'm just the messenger. Don't come after me. This guy's a white supremacist, obviously, and the other two dudes were documenting it. So, what are we doing here? Like, then they have the thing where they walk over a cooked pig and put it in front of Gracie Mansion where Mom Donnie lives, okay? They're mobbed by 300 people coming for their deaths, threatening to kill them. The cops are having a tough time holding them back. So they wall these, 6 guys off, 8 guys, there's almost nobody there, and a goat. They wall them off, and these 300 people or 400 whatever New Yorkers are sitting there screaming at him, racist, fuckface, blah, 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 whatever. But some guy throws a bomb at him. The bomb doesn't go off. Everybody runs away. Now, this was like a micro protest versus about 300 people. But does the person that's Islamic have the right to throw a bomb because he's offended because they were mocking Allah? I say no. You have the right to call him a fuckface, a dick sucker, yell at him, threaten him, all this other shit, but you don't have the right to throw a bomb at him. Right? So once you cross the line trying to or killing somebody for their speech, and then you say, well, didn't the liberals or one of them kill Charlie Kirk in such a fashion? Yes, we've crossed the line in multiple times. Now, Jake Lang, remember this. Before this, Jake Lang has been constantly talking shit about Islam, even more than me, and fucking talking racist shit, which I can't back. So he literally said, he did a Sieg Heil, and then fucking said that we're a white Christian nation, and we're not going to be a bunch of N-word lovers. Now, is it for shock? Well, you can't threaten. Yeah, you know what I mean. But did he do it for shock, or did he do it because he actually feels that way? Is he fucking a devil, or is he an instrument of free speech? That is the question. That is the question. If you go out and do a Nazi salute at a crowd and say, we don't want our people to be a bunch of N lovers, he's a douchebag. But does he deserve to be killed? That's the question. Now, some people will say, yes, that involves violent speech, therefore you can attack that. Other people say that you cannot do that. I'm in the camp that no matter what bullshit you spout, you can't kill anybody. It's just words. That's the camp I'm in. So if you say fuck face, retard, suck my ass, this, that, or the other, Islam is great, your God sucks, whatever it is, wipe my ass with a Quran, pee on a fucking Bhagavad Gita, lick a fucking stamp, and make a drawing of Martin Luther King on the Book of John, it's all okay. It doesn't matter. Some people say that book is sacred, so you get to die. So, constant free speech is the way it is. But what about criminalizing the N-word? Does that go too far? Is that why they haven't done it? Is Jake Lang an agitator that needs to be thrown back in jail? Or is he simply pushing the boundaries of any type of decency whatsoever? And what's your thoughts on it? I'm just a messenger. What do you mean bullshit control? No, because I'm just saying, what's your pleasure? How do I put it? Do you believe him saying that instigates violence? And then is the violence tolerable, or is it no? So okay, you have Dean Withers and Parker on live streams. Fantastic. They would argue that the word should be a criminal offense. I argue that the reason you don't do that is because it leads to other words that may not be offensive being criminalized. So, for instance, let's say you are an elderly person and you use old vernacular. Should that elderly person change? I'm not talking, I'll tell you what, none of that shit. I'm talking, let's say, they use a different word for gay people, and it would be considered acceptable then, and people would consider just kind of gitchy, but like one of those things you don't really want to correct them because they're 100, but it's kind of offensive. So do you really go after them and bring the cops to them and say, hey, you said an offensive thing about, well, I didn't mean it that way. Well, we're going to have to take you in to teach you a lesson. How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man? Right? That type of shit. Or do you just kind of take it with a grain of salt? You go to New York City and somebody cuts you off and you go, hey, you fucking douchebag. Yeah, well, fuck you. And you put a homophobic slur. Well, do you get out and you say, well, I'm going to come for the guy because he called me this? Or do you just say, hey, fuck you. Your wife sucked good dick last night. And then you just move on. Right? What is it? You know what I mean? Do you really want to get that deep, holding everything accountable? Because if you go that route, you say, well, we're going to start criminalizing speech. Well, let's say, you're going to criminalize, wiping your ass with the Quran. Okay, wonderful. Well, then what if you wipe your ass with the Bible? Well, no, that's acceptable. Okay, well, how is it not acceptable to do this, but acceptable to do it? Don't you think that's a little fucked up? Well, now we're going to make that. You can't do that now. Well, what about the Buddhists and the Hindus? They don't want their books wiped with their ass. Okay, now you can't do it to anybody. So you see, you're chipping away. Because one didn't like it, you're chipping away at all the rest. Now, well, what about Islam? They can't do it either. Well, no, they get a free pass. Oh, well, so what, you're better than me? So what, you're fucking better than me? And then now you're in this fucking room. You see what we're saying here? This isn't good either. So that's why, because if you go on a fact-finding mission to get rid of all the hate speech, then you get rid of a bunch of speech that's not hate speech, but maybe perceived as it if it's taken a certain way when it's really not. It's a slippery slope argument. Exactly. And so we don't want to go through that, because then all speech becomes a TikTok live stream. And do you really want that? That sucks. That's ridiculous. That's nonsense. We don't want that. We want real, because you can't get any thoughts. Sometimes people have to just kind of get it. You ever sit there and there's two people that get each other, and something happens, and you just look and you're like, and they're like, oh yeah, right. And then there's this other person, and you think you're with it, and you like kind of look at them, and you're like this, and they're like, "What? What is it? Is your eye? What's wrong? Why are you looking over at her with the because she has a little poop stain on? Oh, hey Nancy, you shit your pants." And you have somebody that doesn't know the innuendos and how to do it. They fucking have to. They have to be punched in the face with what the meaning is. They can't gauge the subtleties of body language, you know. And then so like, where are we going with here with the speech? Is what I'm saying. Anyway, happy day. Iran says that they might target banks next with cyber attacks. So, the fuck? Hold on a second. I really hope they don't add $6,000 to my bank account.
I think they were pulling out the driveway.
No, yeah, there you go. Man, Iran, I hope you don't. I hope Iran does not hack Huntington Bank and place $5 to $20 million in my account. All of a sudden, that I can write a fucking check or something to a bearer bond of some sort, and then I can transfer that to an investment arm in Canada, where I will go up, drive over, and cash that in of some capacity. Yeah, I know I'll take a financial hit. Who cares? And by the time the investigation begins, I'll have a Commonwealth bank account, and I'll be laying on a beach in some place like Papua New Guinea. Not Papua New Guinea, fuck that. Tahiti, or some non-extradition country. Well, Hong Kong, they're still a little bit with Commonwealth there. Buy an island, yeah. You know, I could still get some bank, because if you have a bank account in Canada, like, or whatever it is, they have Commonwealth rights. So, like, if I'm in America, it's a problem. But if I go to Canada and I get a bearer bond worth $10 million that's just somehow comes out, and I transfer it up to an investment firm in Calgary, then I go drive up there, and I take the 28% tax, or whatever it is, plus the fees, and I take $4 million of that I actually get. Then, of course, I buy a nice island home in Papeete, somewhere in Tahiti, and then I buy another home over in the west coast of Canada, someplace that resembles America but still has legal weed. And then we go back and forth, and we just kind of look at America and say, thanks. Thanks for that. Thanks, Iran, you piles of dirty dog shit. Anyway, oil crisis coming up, $95 a barrel right now. They're saying hackers are joining the war. Ships are being struck in the Straits of Hormuz. And Vladimir Putin is helping Tehran. Law enforcement responds to an unsubstantiated report of an Iranian drone in California. There was no drone in California. And emergency sirens in San Francisco won't sound an alarm even during a threat, they say. Coastal Rico. Oil prices soar. U.S. economic outlook has been cut by Goldman Sachs. And a credit crisis in the United States is unfolding as most Americans, 65% of Americans are now being backlogged on paying credit cards. So if you can't pay your credit cards, you're in good company, because nobody else in the fucking country can. Onboard fire extinguished in an aircraft carrier. Was it the Ronald Reagan in the Red Sea? And expats are now leaving Dubai after the attack. Robot soldiers are now being created. I hope you liked your life. Robot soldiers. That is no fucking thank you. Luxury apartment block was blown up in the United Arab Emirates. And 21 people have been charged with filming the damage in the UAE, as that's considered a crackdown on leaks, as apartment buildings are being hit in the United Arab Emirates by Iranian drones, Iranian dick sucker drones. What a surprise. We make something good, and we're blowing people up with drones before we have good Walmart drones coming to the house. So we make drone technology. We made drone technology so we can deliver things and make life easier. So the first thing we do as humans is we turn them into flying weapons like chimpanzees. Wonderful. Absolutely stupid. What the fuck? We must have shit for brains. Of course we do. Donald Trump is now hanging out with Jake Paul, saying that Jake Paul may want to run for office. Don't. For God's sakes, don't. Actually, you know what? Maybe he'll make a great governor. He got his jaw broken. Maybe it knocks some sense into him. Donald Trump says we make a lot of money as oil prices are up. Most people can't afford food or rent, falling far behind on bills now. Airfares have now doubled. So you're not going to be going anywhere on an airplane. I know, I'm going through the speed news. Trying to sabotage me. What? Yep. Triple terror. Security guard shoots dead attackers at the synagogue. Chemical agents found in the truck. The ISIS Virginia University I told you about. And MAGA continues to fall apart as people are exiting Donald Trump, which is unfortunate because I think a lot of people had at least good thoughts that it would work. Average teenager checks phone 64 times during school hours. Man, Emily needs to get off the phone, doesn't she?
She doesn't. She got 64 times.
I know, but goddamn though. And frozen brains are being reawakened in medical breakthrough, as brains that were frozen can now be reawakened, and they believe they can put them back into new bodies. So for fuck's sakes, preserve my brain. Well, preserve the memories of it. Is there a way to do that? Phoenix is now at 106 degrees. Second highest or warmest temperature ever recorded. And unexplained Moscow internet blackout sparks internet censorship fears. Sydney Sweeney is left out of Euphoria group photo amid bitter feud over politics. Billie Eilish in talks to make her movie debut that no one will go see, which is absolutely fantastic. And the other day, somebody tried to shoot Rihanna's house. And that's what we're doing here. So we will be talking more on Saturday night if I'm up to it. I will be heading out into the world for spring break. I will be bringing ammunition with me in case ISIS attacks because they're a piece of shit or whatever. So keep your head on a swivel, and I will be back, Wednesday? I'll probably do live streaming sometimes late at night. Maybe if I'm lucky, maybe like a Saturday and like a Monday or something. I don't know what we're doing. It depends on how late we're out. But I'll take pictures and put them out here. I'll still make my videos on TikTok, and I'll still try to put content up here. I may or may not be out of internet depending on how high up a mountain we are, but whatever's clever. So that's what it is. So follow me on TikTok, Sup America. Follow me on TikTok, Sup America and Sup America 2. Sup America 2 is my politics page. Sup America is my archaeology page. The archaeology page has like 87,000 followers. The politics page has like 86,000 or 56,000, 57,000. Thank you, Albania. Thank you, my friend. Any of the other ones other than those two are fake, so don't fall for it. I don't have like accounts like 800 followers. I gained like 12,000 in a day once they banned me. So, am I right? I mean, it's pretty fucking cool, really, actually. Anyway, we'll put some content over there. Subscribe here, please do. If you have any gifts, or if you have Cash App or Venmo, somebody Cash Apped me yesterday. Thank you very much for that. That was fantastic. A couple of you did over the past couple of days, so you guys are awesome. And I have memberships available if you'd like to do that so far. I figured once I had like 25,000 followers or however many different, I don't know how many members I have, but once I got to a certain point, I would make members-only content. I haven't done it yet because I haven't reached that threshold. Once I get like 100 members or something, I'll start doing that. I don't know how many I have. I'll have to have a membership. What? 30 something. Maybe at 50 then, whatever it is. I'll be like, what's up, dog? Or we'll do something special. But at the same time, whatever. But memberships, all that type of shit, blah, blah, blah. And follow me on Twitter, Sup America, and I'll direct you to some really horrifying fucking videos out there of a lot of dead people. It's fucked up. That's how it is, but it's there and it's real. So don't forget to subscribe, share, like, hit the notification button. If you don't like me, block me and go fuck yourself as always. And suck a dick, dumb shits.